good, the bad, and the odd. They do go on.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd with your host, Michael Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello there.
Right, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about Kelly's Heroes, which was my choice. We were going to be doing another film, which we will come to, but with Donald Sutherland passing away recently, I wanted to do something where he's a significant character. And funny enough, the film we were going to do, he is in, but he's a much smaller character. But in the Kelly's Heroes, he's a much more significant character, which we'll get into when we talk about the film. But first, we keep talking about restarting our comfy chair, and we keep forgetting. We've just done a show where it's just a whole comfy chair to kind of catch up. But now we're going to restart the comfy chair before, the non-specific episode, the non, Daisy Daisy and the non-Hammer episodes. So, comfy chair, shall I start? Do you want to?
Yeah, certainly.
All right. I rewatched the movie Quiet Place because the third in that set of films is coming out in the cinemas imminently. And I've only ever seen the first one, so I wanted to catch the first two, but I've started by rewatching the first one. Very good film. It's tense, but it's not scary, but it is got very, very high tension and very well directed. John Krasinski directed as well as starred. Does a really good job. The direction's very tall. It's tense all the way through. There's things in it that go, oh my God, that'll make you curl up in your chair while you're watching it because it's so tense. As I say, not scary, but tense and kind of interesting. It's basically the principle is, how do you live in a world where any noise could make you die when you've got young children, right? So that's kind of what's going on there, and how do you navigate that world, stuff like that, and how do you deal with the tragedies that sort of come from that. Good movie. Emily, I was gonna say, is it Emily Morton? I can't remember now. I think it's Emily Morton. She was terrific. She was absolutely terrific, as was John Krasinski. So really solid thriller, I'd say. The premise, the trappings are horror, but I feel this is more. Sorry, Emily Blunt is. Well, I meant to say Emily Blunt, idiot. And it's all well acted, and I think it's a really taut, and it's a very punchy film. I think it's 95 minutes, something like that. So it gets on with business really nicely. I'd recommend it. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Yeah,
no.
it was good. It was good. I wouldn't have probably revisited it apart from the fact that the next one's coming out. So it's time. But I never watched the second one, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. And the first one kind of ends with them figuring out a way of fighting back against the things, which is an interesting idea. I want to see how that progresses. I believe the third one coming out is kind of a prequel. From the trailers, it looks like a prequel of how it all started, so that's kind of interesting. It looks good, though, from the trailer. Anyway, that's me. What's yours?
Okay, so actually both of my options are, both of my sort of picks here are Doctor Who, because the recent series. But first thing, so the recent series I'm going to talk about later. But what me and my friend did is we picked just like a single episode from each of the sort of newer Who versions, Doctors. And we watched one. So we started with Rose for the 9th Doctor.
Not a good choice.
We did the girl in the fireplace for the 10th Doctor, which is the one where he's visiting high Renaissance France.
France, with Sophie Miles, right? Sophie Miles.
Yeah.
Just before you go on, I've been waiting through some Tennant ones. God, there's some great episodes in Tennant's one. I just watched Midnight. Midnight's so tense.
Midnight is terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Watched Vincent and the Doctor.
I think this might be my single favourite episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's a really, really good episode. For 12th, we watched The Husbands of River Song, which is the last appearance so far of River Song in the TV show.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's a really good episode because it's kind of fresh off of Clara leaving. So he's not got a companion really for this one. River is like, I'm looking for the Doctor to the Doctor. It's like he's got one of these faces and just has all the old ones. It's like oh, you might recognise him. So it's a bit of the Doctor pretending not to be the Doctor And he even gets to pretend to see the TARDIS for the first time.
Wow.
So,
it's bigger on the inside, all that.
Yeah. It's like, my mind has been blown. My concept of space and time has been completely shattered.
Oh, okay. I'll look forward to getting to that.
He's just like hamming it up completely. And for the Jodie Whittaker ones, we watched actually the last one, The Power of the Doctor, which is the reason she regenerates into David Tennant again, which is a whole mess of a storyline. I've got to be honest. It involves there's a few like cute bits in it where it's like, okay, Tegan and Ace get involved.
Amazing. Tegan and Ace.
And there's a brief bit where it shows like a support group for previous like companions of the Doctor.
Right.
And friggin' Ian is there, the first Doctor's companion. So,
wow. Who died recently, right? Who died recently?
Yeah, William Russell. Yeah, he died about a couple of weeks back.
Yeah. Great companion. Yeah.
But but it features the Master, the Daleks, the Cybermen, everyone. He's got a great bit where the Master, who's been pretending to be Rasputin, does play Ra Rasputin.
That sounds like fun. I won't lie. Yeah. That sounds like fun.
It's
Again,
goofy, but
never seen it.
So.
I am working through them, so I will eventually, in the next year and a half, get to watch all of Doctor Who. But I'm watching the new series as well. So basically, I've got to get to the end of Jodie Whittaker to be able to say I've watched all of Doctor Who, and I've got to start watching these offshoots like Tales of the TARDIS. Though I have seen the original stories, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah. Cool. Okay, sounds good. So, what's the standouts for you?
Standouts were Husbands of River Song and Vincent and the Doctor. Yeah. Like, they're just such good episodes.
Yeah. I agree. Apparently, in Vincent and the Doctor, they didn't want to have a monster. He didn't want to have a monster, but the sort of, I can't remember the details, but it was like, you got to have a monster. So I think they kind of try and have as little monster as possible.
Yeah, they made a monster that only Vincent can see.
Yeah.
Half the time they're like swinging at random like air. So.
Yeah, nice. Probably for cheap as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That sounds really cool. Right, okay. My next one is I've gone way back. I've picked a show that basically was a spin-off of The X-Files.
Okay.
Called The Lone Gunman. Now, The Lone Gunman are three characters who are like conspiracy nuts and publish a newspaper about what's going on called The Lone Gunman.
Okay.
And, they invested all sorts of conspiracies, like who shot JFK for a really basic one. But the series spin-off is actually really fun. It only lasted for one season because ratings just dropped. But essentially, imagine it sort of a group of nerds doing Mission Impossible kind of stuff. Like, they think they discover the guy that invented the car that runs on water, for example, and that they know that the petrol companies are after him, so there's a race for time to find him, if there's such a thing. Things like that, right? It's stuff like that. They're kind of getting involved in goofy stuff. Now, it isn't supernatural or anything like that. It's all about conspiracy stuff. Right, so it's not like the X-Files, though. There's one episode with Mulder, there's one episode with Scully, there's one episode with Skinner, and they're just getting up, and it's kind of a comedy drama, I really enjoyed this, and it wasn't really watched by many people. I watched all 13 episodes, but to prepare for it, I thought, you know what, I should maybe watch at least some, or maybe even all of the episodes that I'm coming in, because I remember them being in about 6 or 7. Looked into it. They were in 35 episodes of The X-Files.
Wow.
So I did watch their bits in each episode, but I skimmed the rest, I didn't watch whole episodes. I just wanted to get a flavour of how they evolved for it. And it is funny. They are funny. Like, they're like, when Mulder wants some help with something techie, that's where you go. They're almost like the Q section for Mulder.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? They got all the tech and know-how and stuff like this. And they even laugh at Mulder because they say things like, who's doing these, this, I can't remember what it is, anti-vax stuff or something like that. And he goes, and Mulder's like saying, maybe aliens are involved. He goes, and one of them goes, "This is why we like you, Mulder. Your ideas are crazier than ours." Things like that. Yeah, it's really fun. They've got a great trio. There's an older man called Fro Hickey. He's obviously more experienced and sort of world-wise than the other two, who are kind of nerdy and uptight. But imagine if you made the IT crowd, but as the A-Team. That's kind of what we're talking about. Or something like that, or Mission Impossible. It is funny. Fro Hickey's my favourite. He's way older than me. But there's one episode, for example, my favourite episode, which apparently is voted the least favourite episode out of this show, but it's my favourite, is one where they need to get close to a particular guy who's doing something shady, but it's in a tango contest, and they believe it's an arms deal. And no one says anything. They're trying, how are we going to get into this contest? But then it turns out Fro Hickey is actually an ex-tango champion. And he's never told anyone. But this guy's like 5'4", quite stocky. Doesn't look like a tango champion. He doesn't like to talk about it. But he's known as El Lobo, the wolf, right? Yeah. It is funny when he goes, I can tango. I'll go in the contest so we can get into the premises. And as soon as they say, it is El Lobo, the entire crowd goes completely bananas because they know his reputation. It's really funny. Gross. Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. And watching these nerds try and learn to tango so they get in the contest is fun. Anyway, there's lots of really fun stuff. I might send you, I've got a video link, not to watch the whole episode, but if you watch the episode, the pre-credit sequence, it's basically them as boys talking about what they want to be. And it's really fun. And if you like that bit, you'll probably like the whole series. And if you don't, you won't. But yeah, Lone Gunman, really enjoyed it. It's probably not everyone's cup of tea by any means. But if you're into the X-Files and like that kind of thing, you might well like this. Anyway, back to you.
Okay, so my next one is actually the most recent series of Doctor Who. So
right, the 2023 Doctor Season 1, isn't it? Because they've rebranded everything as 2023 Doctor.
Yeah, 2034. So.
Oh, was it? No, but he came out in 23. I thought it was in the official blurb.
His first episode was Church on Ruby Road, which was last year's Christmas special. But the series is coming out on the 2024.
Okay, but I thought BBC branded it as because they brand the second. The classic is Doctor Who 1963. The second is Doctor Who 2005, and I thought they referred to this one as Doctor Who 2023. But I could be wrong. You could be wrong. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, but yeah, this is it's been a bit hit or miss, I've got to be honest. Some ups, some downs.
Yeah.
I've
watched them all too. Yeah, I agree. The first one was the weakest. But I still enjoyed it. It was fun, but goofy, right?
Yeah. The sillier aspects didn't really land as well in regards to like a lot of the more serious ones, and a lot of it just kind of didn't really make internal sense.
Yeah, I don't think plot was a strong point for this season, but having said that, I still enjoyed it quite a lot. I thought it was pretty solid too, and a piece of entertainment. Which was your favourite? We got to be careful not to spoil it because I'm guessing a lot of people haven't seen any of it or might have seen only some. Which was your favourite episode? Would you say?
Okay, of all of them, Rogue.
You like Rogue? Rogue was good. Yes, Rogue was good.
Yeah, because it was the most like just a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, you are right.
It's just like, oh man, we went to a place, man, there's a monster. Okay, brief encounter with some fun characters, and then they win at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't tie into the greater story, but I think that was to its benefit.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was nice to see a standalone episode rather than being part of a bigger arc. There were some surprising episodes in this one, quite shocking in a way, actually, in some ways. But there was other ones where we just didn't have enough Doctor. He was barely in the episode.
Yeah, a lot of them did feel like bottle episodes.
Yeah, because he had commitments to another series. So they kind of wrote around that. Yeah.
But yeah, basically a lot of it is Doctor's not there, or the Doctor is only coming through over like a phone or a video chat.
Yeah, so, indeed. My favourite of all the ones was actually Devil's Cord. I really like that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It might be a classic. I was watching it thinking, this could be a classic. I'm not entirely sure. Because the bad guy was so good, right?
Yeah.
I just really liked it. Though, I have to say, the whole series, the resolutions are goofy as hell. It's really Wizards
they
did
always
it
seem
all
really,
the time.
Like brief and
cursory.
just, like, offhand.
Yeah. But I have to say, I like the new Doctor. I like I like Ruby. I think the casting's really good. It looks great. The series, they've obviously had some, because they've done a deal with Disney, haven't they? So they've got some more money.
And they've got a lot of money.
Though I have to say, some of the CGI looks, ooh, you go, ooh, that's not good. But yeah, that's fine. It's Doctor Who, right? I mean, we used to way worse from Doctor Who, especially if you watch the classic Doctor Who.
Like, there's a few flashbacks to Classic Who, and you'll see worse.
Yes, yes. I think it's been a great run, and I'm looking forward to it when the Doctor's actually in it more. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like it was great ideas, medium execution. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. Looking forward to more. I like this guy. I think he's going to be a good Doctor.
Ncuti Gatwa was a really good one.
Yeah, Ncuti Gatwa was a really good actor. He was. I want to see a bit more range. I like it when he's more serious, and intense. He did cry a lot for almost every episode, which is okay. I don't mind it occasionally, but it was almost every episode. So that was a bit okay. Guy, we know you can deal with this.
But also, like, I don't know. David Tennant cried nearly all the time.
Yeah. It does. I saw some of the complaints online, and it is funny because I've been reading the book that I mentioned on the comfy chair, where almost every time there's a new Doctor, there's a load of bitching about the rubbish compared to the last one. After Hartnell, Troughton had it. After Troughton, Pertwee had it, and so on. It's just, oh my goodness, just give it a chance. It's the same with Batman's, isn't it? Often, not always, but often it's the same with Batman's. But yeah, Doctor Who, pretty strong series. Quite enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, should we get on to Kelly's Heroes? Kelly's Heroes. Right, as I mentioned, this was my choice. I did pick something else, but I wanted to pull this forward. I had talked about us doing this at some point anyway to you. I think I had anyway. But I wanted to pull it forward because Donald Sutherland's, right? Interesting film because Clint Eastwood stars. He's still fairly early in his career. This might be his first leading role outside of The Man with No Name. I'm really not sure, to be honest. Though he'd already established himself in another war film, a really great war film called Where Eagles Dare. But he was more like second fiddle to Richard Burton in that. In this, he's kind of more of a lead. Having said that, is he much of a lead? I mean, it's quite an ensemble, isn't it? It's quite an ensemble going on. Telly Savalas is very significant.
It's Big Joe.
Yeah, and Don Rickles as Crap Game, and Donald Sutherland as Oddball, right? I'd forgotten Harry Dean Stanton was in this, and he was the guy going, I got crabs. That guy. It was written by a British writer, and filmed in Croatia, mostly.
Huh. This guy also wrote the Italian Job. Neat.
Well, that explains a lot. Because it felt really like the Italian Job in many respects. Yeah. It felt like the Italian Job in World War II France, right? That's basically it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think the film had a few... we'll get into a few more of the sort of plot in a bit, but I think the film could have done with a bit of tightening, personally.
Yes.
Some of the scenes
were
way too long.
Yeah,
it's a heist film.
It was 2.5 hour film where I feel like we got to the end and kind of just were doing stuff about an hour and a half in.
Yeah, they got to the village. I remember they got to the village where the gold was, because basically they found Kelly somehow gone into a German camp unnoticed in his American uniform, kidnapped a German officer and driven out, right?
Yeah, he catches a worm member.
And that's how it starts. And basically, he finds a lead bar in the bag, and he says, "Why is this lead bar in here?" And he goes, "Oh, it's to weigh the bag down. If we're caught, we throw it in the river." But then he scratches it, and it's gold. It's gold. And basically, he gets the guy drunk, and he finds out that there's 24,000 bars of gold in a bank in a certain town behind German lines, right? 25 miles or 30 miles behind German lines. And then they work out how much that is. That's $16 million worth of gold. And $16 million was a lot of money in 1944.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money now.
Yeah, but, anyway.
Like, it's 4 times the amount the movie was made with, so...
Yeah, and they're tasked with taking the town of Nancy, but then they're ordered. Big Joe's the one in charge. Well, he's the non-commissioned officer in charge, right? And the officer's a waste of space.
Caps it.
He just wants to nick a boat. That's all he wants to do.
His whole thing is he's trying to steal a boat so that he can take it back home. He's like, do you think this will fit inside a
B-52 Tau? And they're like, I don't know, sir. We got, bigger things to do about. And anyway, they've been told to not take Nancy because...
Yeah, they don't want to take it, just hold.
And
hold with what? We're being killed out here.
Yeah, Big Joe's really annoyed because he says, "Look, we come all the way here. We're nearly there, and you're telling us to pull out so the guys with the shiny buttons can march into town." It's all this, right? And they've come in on the Omaha Beach, and they're also being bombed by their own mortar, which is Mulligan, right? Mulligan's been bombarded.
Mulligan's a nightmare.
Interestingly, the guy playing Mulligan was Telly Savalas' brother in real life. That was George Savalas. I recognised him because I've seen him in other stuff. But yeah, it just made me laugh that he was there. So we also find out Kelly, who's a private, was a lieutenant, but he got busted because some attack went wrong, and they blamed him, right? He basically finds out about this money, and then he goes and talks to the camp hustler, right? There's always one.
Well, first things first, he does actually go to Big Joe, and it's like, "Hey, I've got a thing that we might be able to do." And Big Joe kind of brushes him off, and
he says, "If you tell anyone else, I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna bust you if you mention gold to any guys here." So then he goes to crack. Played by the American comedian Don Rickles. Well acted. No problem with his acting at all. I thought he did a good job. And while they're talking about it, then Oddball sits up. He's with a woman
who's just kind of been sat behind behind all the supplies.
And Oddball, I mean, Donald Sutherland. How good is Oddball in this? Did you like him?
He's like this weird beatnik.
Yeah.
Or hippie. It's just it's like, come on, man, you're just ruining the vibes.
Yeah, but
it's
don't give me those bad waves,
around.
Man. Don't give me Moriarty. Stop giving me the bad waves and all this kind of stuff. I have to say, I think this film would be nothing without Oddball. That's how much I like Oddball in this. I think Donald Sutherland's
to be
really
frank,
good.
as good as Telly Savalas and Clint Eastwood are, the film would just be a war film.
Yeah, and not too bloated. Yeah. I have to say the two high points of the film to me were Oddball, whenever Oddball had a scene, and Clint Eastwood's reactions to Oddball. Because he never says a word about Oddball. It's all in his face, isn't it?
And mainly because Clint Eastwood's whole acting method is just really tight in his jaw and just sort of hope for the best. And it's just kind of it genuinely looks like it's throwing him off because his entire face just kind of drops from it, and then he goes, "Oh," and then it tightens back in. So basically Oddballs leads a troop which he goes and shows Kelly. It's amazing. They've got this little camp with women. They're all drinking wine and getting pissed up. And cooking chickens on a rotisserie while they're just playing music and just chilling out.
And
it's like, well, why are you doing this? It's like we kind of got unattached from our main unit, so we just aren't reporting it.
Yeah, and it sort of mentions, if we look like we're in recovery, no one bugs us, so we're left alone, so we can just sit this. And he says, "I see us as like a defensive unit. We'll stay here in case the Germans try a counter-offensive against France or New York." It just went and meanwhile, and Crap Game's like, "Yeah, we didn't report the officer because I'm getting his whiskey. Yeah, he's still getting his rations of whiskey." So Kelly works out this plan with these 3 Shermans. So they got 3 Shermans, but they modify their tanks to be a lot faster. Shermans aren't very big compared to Tiger tanks.
Yeah, basically they run really well, but they're still kind of just Shermans. Their guns aren't great.
No, compared
so they
to
modified the barrels to look bigger, so that people
to scare
look,
people.
Oh shit, they're shooting 9mm at us, but they're not.
And sometimes they fire paint instead of to scare the shit out of people. And they also have loudspeakers attached playing music, which is made me laugh because it's like country music. They march into, they start fights with Hank Williams playing. It made me laugh. It also made me think, did Francis Ford Coppola nick this and use it in Apocalypse Now with the the gunship playing the Ride of the Valkyries? Because it's got a similar vibe.
Maybe.
That was like 9 years after this.
Maybe.
Having said that, Oddball and his crew know what they're doing. They get into real fights and they can deal with it, can't they?
Yeah, they are properly scrappy.
Yeah, they don't care. They do not care. They just roll into a whole horde of Germans and start blowing the shit out of everything at one point.
Yeah, I love the bit where they're rolling down a tunnel. First off, like, how did the Germans not hear them coming down the tunnel?
Yeah. Well, they've got a big train running, so, that might
but still. But anyway, going past that, they just spend like a good 5 minutes sat there, just sort of talking over what they're going to do. It's like, okay, you go that away.
We'll triangulate, but we won't break till we get it. So Oddball, even though he's a kook, knows what he's doing, right? He knows what he's doing. One of the things about this film that I felt they could have just cut, really, for time, is the whole general moaning at sort of his underlings.
See, I quite like the general.
It's all right. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it pays off. It pays off at the end.
It's just like, come on, you waste of space. This is a real war.
And he starts going on about when he finds out these guys are rolling into this town, doesn't know they're on a heist, thinks they're just proper soldiers getting on with it. And he said, "I've got medals for everyone," and all this. And there's some good moments in this. Anyway, Kelly gets a plan together, tells some guys. Big Joe comes in, but meanwhile they find they're basically stationed for 3 days and they can't go anywhere in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Big Joe's like, "There's no broads, there's no music, there's no booze. What are we gonna do?" So it made me laugh. He goes, "Right, we're gonna go to his headquarters, get some dirty movies." And at one point, you see him drive back with this guy holding this massive set of film reels. And he stops the Jeep and he goes, "Wait there, Padre." So he's got the chaplain holding all this porn as he transfer. Just made me laugh. Little things like that in this film just make it work, actually. And then they go back and then basically Big Joe comes in and he finds out Kelly's told all these guys about it and they say how much money it is. And he goes, Big Joe's more concerned about their safety than the money, isn't he? He's saying, "I've got you this far. You want to do this?" He goes, "Well, we're getting paid $50 a month to do it anyway. We might as well do something for ourselves at the same time." And he goes, "Yeah, but you have the choice this time. You don't have to risk yourself." But they all want to go, so he's in too. He hates Crap Game, doesn't he? He keeps calling him Hustler, doesn't he? Giving him shit all the way through,
just constantly.
Yeah, and they they just drive out. And what made me laugh is they start by driving their trucks through a town full of Germans and just shooting the shit out of them. It's like, that's mental. Go across country or something. I don't know. And it was the town where he first kidnapped the German. Oh, the German dies, doesn't he? He's pissed up and he goes walking off.
Shot.
He gets shot by his own side because they mistake him for an American. I guess I don't really know, but I tell you what, I couldn't believe how many buildings they were blowing up in this film. They just did not.
There was a lot of destruction.
Yeah, I feel like they must have found some abandoned towns and just said, "Right, we're going to blow the shit out of this." It didn't look like pre-built sets. It looks like old buildings being blown up. That's how it looked. Otherwise, they had excellent set design. That's all I can say. And they've already arranged to meet Oddball and his team somewhere on a map location, so they're all going separately. So Kelly and the guys go in their convoy, but they're positioned up, sort of having a rest, and they get under fire from one of their own, who blows up all their trucks, right? And stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
an American pilot, and this is sort of prefaced by an explanation to the general that, like, oh yeah, we send out our pilots every morning to blow up this bridge, so that the Germans can't advance, but every night they just rebuild it. I should also mention Kelly gives Mulligan a gold bar to bribe him to lay down a barrage as they go through the town. And they're like, they all think Mulligan's going to... This is kind of significant because he's only got 2 bars at that time.
Yeah, so he's given one to Crap Game.
Half of his potential output. And then, he's shown one to Crap Game and he gives one to Mulligan.
But when you hear about 24,000 bars you're going to get, that's kind of probably worth it. I don't know. I would have said to Mulligan, you can have half of this myself, and Hacksaw did enough. That would have been enough. And then giving the other... Anyway. Mulligan does actually... You think he's not going to because you see him asleep at 9 o'clock, hugging an alarm clock. And then the alarm clock... And he quickly just wakes up, calls in the phone, fire! And goes back to sleep again, which is funny. Anyway, they get on. But they're all on foot, so they're going across sort of open terrain. They accidentally wander in a minefield and one dies. And then the rest...
One dies. And they do have a genuinely sort of solemn scene where they try and retrieve his dog tags.
Yeah.
And then some other Germans roll up in trucks because I guess they heard the explosion.
Yeah.
And a brief gunfight ensues where a couple more die. And again, really solemn scene where one of the guys is like, should we check if they're alive? It's like, no, they're dead.
They're dead. And they're in the middle of a minefield, right? So it would be madness to go back unless you really have to. Yeah, so it was a weird tonal shifting going on with those serious war bits with this goofy caper going on. Anyway, they get to the town, you think, well, there's another hour of this, what's going on? And then and again, the story's not entirely coherent. 2 of them are immediately in the bell tower. We don't get any sort of scene of them being sent and saying, let us know when you get there. They're just there. Right?
Are in it. So.
I reckon there's probably such things, but they must have cut because this was a long film. Considering the material as well, you know. And then Oddball's like, how are we going to get into this? And then I always love Oddball's sidekick, who's I think it's called Moriarty, keeps saying, we can't do this.
Yeah.
Stop it with the negative waves, man. And all this. Because at one point he goes, there'll be no bridge there. He goes, try thinking positively, Moriarty. If you think there's going to be a bridge there, there's going to be a bridge there. And Moriarty's like, okay, Oddball.
Yeah.
And they get there and there is a bridge. He goes, yeah, the bridge is there. And then America comes and blows up. He goes, no, the bridge isn't there.
Yeah.
And then they go and constrict half an army.
Like, what are we going to do? And Oddball turns around and is like, well, you got to put these bad vibes on me, man. This isn't good. Just immediately blames Moriarty
for bad vibes. Anyway, he recruits another load of soldiers to build a bridge. And then, 100 blokes turn up, and Kelly and his crew are pissed off because they say, "We can't
equal
split all
the whole
this."
damn army. So.
Yeah, but they've been built to build a bridge, but somehow Oddball loses 2 of his tanks, so there's only one of them. So the guys climb on the back of his Sherman, and that lone tank manages to get across what's left of the bridge. But the rest of it's wrecked. Or so. I couldn't make sense of this because if they got through, anyone could get through. If a tank could get through, trucks could.
Well, but anyway, the thing is that they roll into town and there's 3 Tigers, which are actual.
But
tanks.
they go ahead of all the loads.
So.
They go ahead of all who decide they have to build a bridge. So it's going to be 5 hours to build a bridge or 8 hours or something. And Kelly's going, well, we're not waiting for you. We'll see you there. All right. And they get into town. They got this one Sherman and 3 Tigers, and they figured out a plan, a really neat plan, which is Tigers are brilliant cross-country tanks, but not very manoeuvrable in town, whereas Shermans are little manoeuvrable tanks. So they use that to their advantage by tricking the Tiger to follow them and stuff like that. Basically, they're warming up the Tiger. They have to warm up the Tiger engines every 4 hours, which gives them the sound cover to just roll in to another part of town. And Kelly's like, Kelly's going, we're going in now, and Oddball's like, hey man, these positive waves are great.
It's good because half the time I'm like, yeah, Oddball, and the other half I'm like, shut the fuck up, Oddball.
Yeah, go Oddball. He is funny though. And they basically take out 2 of the tanks, don't they? Because Oddball says the only way you can get a Tiger is directly in the arse, right? That's its only weak spot. And they manage to shoot one through a wall. They're behind it in a wall. Just shoot through the wall, shoot into the back of the Tiger. And then another one chases them, but they kind of trick it. And it goes down like
they trick it down like an alley, and where it can't turn to them. And they do shoot it with a paintball gun.
Without realising it's paint, and Kelly's goes, well, that's paint. And Oddball's like, oh, that's funny. And meanwhile, this tank's trying to turn its turret towards them, but it's stuck. There's a tree on one side and a wall on another, and it can't turn the turret properly.
I did like someone hopped straight out to try and chop down the tree, and Kelly just gunned them down.
Yeah, Kelly just machine gunned them down. And then they took out, but they've got one more Tiger. But the rest of the troops are dead, so there's just this Tiger tank left. And
that's why they can't step into view of it really, because it'll kill them. And they can't kill it because their tank has got some engine troubles.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Crap Game has been injured in the legs, and he's sitting there asking what's going on. And him and Big Joe kind of have a moment, but don't. You feel like Big Joe's going to stop insulting him. And but it doesn't quite work. And Crap Game goes, cut a deal.
Yeah.
He goes, what do you mean cut a deal? With a German? He goes, yeah, cut a deal. It's business. Business is business. Anyway, they decide to cut a deal. So they just step, Big Joe, Kelly, and Oddball just step out into the alley and start walking towards the tank. And did you notice the musical cues in that bit?
Yeah, it sounded like a Western.
Ennio Morricone, they were ripping off. Basically, they were taking the piss out of Clint Eastwood's Westerns, right? It's just walking down the street. And the Germans, like, aims the gun at them, but they just carry on walking. The German steps out, and then they offer him a deal. He says, I have been ordered to protect this bank from the American army. He goes, well, we aren't the American, it's just us and you, right? And he goes, and if you want a cut of $16 million, all you got to do is turn that turret around and blast through that bank doors. And the German's like, and he does, right? And they end up getting all that they find, these absolute massive hoard of gold bars. So they, meanwhile, the colonels, the general's like, who are these guys? They can hear all the battle going on. He rolls up where the guys are building the bridge, says, good work, lads, and drives on, and the guys build the bridge. There goes our $16 million, because we can't have once the general's there. And meanwhile, Kelly and the boys are loading it all onto a truck, aren't they? And they find out the general's coming, and they start telling the town, Eisenhower's coming and the de Gaulle's coming in.
First he says it's Eisenhower, and then he's like, I don't think they understand you. And then he goes, de Gaulle? They're like, oh, de Gaulle's coming. And they're like, oh, okay. So,
and I think one of them says something like, de Gaulle isn't even in this war. What are you talking about? But they managed to drive out of the town as the general's coming in, who wants to give everyone medals, and everyone's cheering, so the general's really happy. Meanwhile, their captain, who's put him on leave for 3 days, is with him, but she's carrying a load of presents from Paris. So he's just walking around with his presents, and he kind of notices a hole in the wall at the bank, and he wanders in and looks at a whiteboard, and drawn on it is Kilroy. Kilroy is his side, saying "Up yours, baby." So he obviously knows it's Oddball, but it's like, oh. And they feel
and Oddball spends his share to buy the tank from the German, which I did find funny.
And Moriarty, and also Moriarty, they're all dressed up as Germans. It's so weird. Yeah. Why would you put German uniforms on?
Are you guys joining the German army? What the fuck?
And But yeah, Oddball loves the tank. He goes, "Oh, this is a beautiful tank." He goes, Moriarty's like, "It's a piece of crap. It's leaking fuel everywhere. That's why we can't smoke." And he goes, "Always with the negative waves, man." It's funny. It made me laugh. Oddball's got a big iron cross hanging from his chest as well. He's got that from so yeah, and he goes off. So yes, and yeah, film ends. Fun. Oh, and it's also got that song in it, "Burning Bridges" as well, which is I think they were riffing on MASH.
Everywhere in this.
Yeah, so. I think they saw MASH. You know, there's a. Remember, we've talked about this, how in the late 60s, early 70s, songs kept coming into films like Butch Cassidy and "Lust for a Vampire" and MASH. This was it, right? This was this version. This film had the same thing. It was doing "Burning Bridges." I think it's all to blame with The Graduate. You know, Simon and Garfunkel doing all the music in The Graduate. It's just got all these films in production. They said, "We've got to have a song. We've got to have a song." That's how I feel about it anyway. But yeah, I mean, most of them survived. 3 of them died in the end. But they took out loads of Germans at the same time.
Then cut a deal with the Nazis. Yay.
Yeah. Well, a German tank driver.
A Nazi, yes.
Okay. He might have been just a German officer. We don't, anyway. All right, okay. He was wearing a black uniform though, but I don't know. Who knows?
Awfully Gestapo-y.
Yeah. Apparently, it was somewhat based on a true story. Apparently, I did not know that. I'm just called the greatest robbery on record in the Guinness Book of World Records. Yeah, so basically, US personnel and German civilians robbed the German national gold reserves in Bavaria. That's mental. How about that? So yes, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Apparently, it was originally going to be called The Warriors, which I think Kelly's Heroes is a better name. Because old Oddball goes, we don't want to be in take part, but for $1.6 million, we'll be heroes. Is how Oddball put it.
It's
right?
just like an offhand thing he says.
Yeah,
these are not good people. They are committing war crimes. Like there's a whole bit.
They're looting, aren't they?
Yeah, they're looting, but also there's a bit where Big Joe is just walking past and it's like, okay, now we're going to be going back to command. I don't want to see any of you raping any of the nurses there. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. That was bad. What also made me laugh is the captain saying, "Look, no looting," as his boat is being he's just looted,
he's like
being driven off. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. I did like the nod to Clint Eastwood films at the end too. So yeah, apparently it was 20 minutes longer than this original cut, and they cut, and he wanted to have it all back in because there was much more character stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing that cut, but I feel the film as it is too long. But it actually might be better by being longer. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really sure. So, yeah. This is some of the scenes that are missing, right? Here we go. Oddball and his crew are going across the lines while the local village girls are playing around in the pond, half naked. Okay. Well, that probably would have made it a lower... I have to tell you something. I went to see this film when it came out and I was 6. I actually went to see this when I was 6.
Damn. I know.
And I liked it. I thought it was really fun. I remember, though, being confused about some of the
6.
ending.
Every film was good.
Yeah. I remember, the bit where they're getting the gold and it starts intercutting with the celebrations?
Yeah.
I remember at 6, I was thinking, what's going on? I just did not understand montage or, cross-cutting. I genuinely did not understand what was going on. I remember that feeling. It looks like it's a lot of stuff cut of nakedness and sex, actually. The platoon encounters a group of German soldiers and naked girls swimming in a pool. General Colt's in bed with a woman. Yeah, okay. Bits and bobs. Mate, I don't know. There is one bit that does sound like character, which is where they're waiting for Oddball in the barn. Kelly and Big Joe talk about being disillusioned about the war and why Kelly was made a scapegoat for the attack that went wrong. That was probably important.
Yeah, that sounds like significant, especially because Oddball has a whole bit of like, man, I fucking hate officers.
Yeah,
he just offhandedly says it a few times. It's like, officers are the worst fucking people.
Yeah. And apparently there was another bit cut from the end. Right at the end, get this. When Kelly and the platoon are driving off at the end, there's a bunch of soldiers they drive past who start shouting, but they ignore them. But the soldiers are shouting, "You're going the wrong way." Which sounds like the
they
Italians
do say several times, like they're, they do say several times, like, well, the only way out of that, once we get there and do this, is just to run for a different border.
Switzerland. They talk about Switzerland, don't they? Yeah.
So, maybe that was deliberate. So.
Yeah, and there's also some chatter. Apparently, there's some scenes where there's chatter about their tactics. But I don't think we needed more about the tactics. We kind of got it from what they did, right? Yeah. We saw what they did. Better to show than tell, right? So that was fun. Yeah. So, solid film. Any final thoughts and we'll score? Any last thoughts?
Didn't really think of. I've kind of put everything across. It was just a good film.
Yeah, solid.
I would give it 3 out of 10. Just to keep saying uncomfortable stuff that kind of dragged it back into the 7s. So.
Yeah, fair enough. I just liked. It was very tonally weird. You know, we go from people dying and quite serious stuff and weird statements like about raping nurses, right? And then we get all the goofy, light-hearted stuff. But I think when you remember the film, you think of the good stuff only and you remember it more fondly. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
I really liked Oddball going into battle playing Hank Williams, fighting fucking hundreds of Germans in these 3 tanks and just blowing the shit out of this place. I mean, the destruction in this film is quite amazing.
Yeah. There's a glorious amount of explosions and...
I can see this being a really good remake. They just got to shift out the horrors of war stuff a bit and concentrate on the fun stuff.
Or lean more into it.
Or one or the other. The mix wasn't comfortable, was it? That was the thing. That was the issue.
What it currently has, that ain't right. That doesn't mesh well.
Yeah. So. I'll tell you a film that does it right. Is Where Eagles Dare. That is an amazing film. Again, Clint Eastwood. That is an amazing war film that's just ridiculously action-packed. And it's like a boy's own adventure, right? That's what it is. But yeah, there were some bits that were a little bit tasteless in this. But you know what? I have to say, I would give this a 3 out of 5 if the oddball stuff wasn't in it. With the oddball stuff, I would give it a 4 out of 5. That makes that much difference to me. I just felt it really elevated stuff. Donald Sutherland was superb in this. I'm glad I picked this because I think this might be my favourite performance of his. I think he's so good. He's got so much charisma and he pulls it off. This goofy hippie in World War II stuff, it's funny. It's kind of weird. You know, it's more Vietnam War, isn't it, really, than World War II. And that's what they were leaning into, I think. But it just it makes the film a lot of fun and kind of goofy and kind of you actually feel like they've got some tactics and are doing. You know, it wasn't just wizards did it solutions. They actually got through it doing what they had to, right? Getting across, going 30 miles behind German lines to get there. But yes, apparently there's a French remake of this film.
Oh.
Which I never heard of, called Les Morphalus, made in 1984. That would be something, I think. I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing this remade, actually. Yeah. I quite liked it. It was solid. All right, let's wind up there. So next time we have a free choice, it'll be your choice. So, okay. Yeah. So, bye from me.
Bye.